part of the problem is that even in our culture, we can ramp ourselves up to a point where everything we act and react to is reactionary. So, oh my gosh, I'm running around so much. I got to get the kids here, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And so we're in a mode of meeting certain needs, like I must get the kids here. I must, buy the dinner for the club meeting tonight. I've got 5,000 errands to run. And that blocks being able to sit and connect to oneself, which blocks connecting ourselves to the Lord.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Caroline Howard, a biblical counselor and certified life breakthrough coach.
And I'm Chris Oneth, marriage and family therapist and executive director of Downey Park Counseling Associates.
Welcome to our next question, where we attempt to answer the questions of life through conversations in psychology and Christianity.
Remember, this is a place of discovery and definitely not the final answer.
Well, first of all, hi everybody, welcome. Here we are.
They're the chest implants that I got.
Welcome to our next question.
What, did that just happen? Wait, are we on air?
Yeah, we're on air. We're recording.
We will see if that makes it.
So today our question is, what do we really need? And apparently Chris needs some surgery.
Ay.
That's what we're talking about.
Purely cosmetic surgery.
Purely cosmetic.
Well, it happens.
I need a facelift.
Dudes be getting like chest implants.
What do they call those? Pec implants?
Yes, I guess. Sure.
I mean,
it just seems to. It's
people
not my
implant
bag.
everything everywhere.
Well, yeah, and the fascinating part of that for me is that it's not even the real thing. It's a facsimile of the thing.
Right.
So then the aesthetic starts to shift to the synthetic thing and not necessarily the genuine thing.
Yeah. People have gotten calf implants too, guys.
I'm telling you.
That's Chris's secret.
Like if you knock on it, is it like plastic? Like knock. That's mine.
My calves are so huge.
Okay, so
that's right.
What surgeries have you actually had?
Wow, no. Okay, yes. Okay, so I guess that's the icebreaker question is what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's the question.
Well, you picked
what
it.
surgeries?
Yeah, you threw it out there.
Have you had surgeries?
Duh.
I had to think about it, but I have had one.
Oh,
good. So we've each all at least had.
Okay, let me think. Let me just go through the thing.
Okay, fine. Kayla, go ahead.
I've been sewed up a few times.
That's not surgery though, is it? No, surgery is like they cut you open and then they sew you back up.
Well, mine was a very minor one of just having my wisdom teeth removed. That's the only surgery I've ever had. So
that's funny because I didn't get wisdom teeth.
I did wake up briefly mid-process, just like open my eyes. I'm like, oh,
no.
There's people here.
No.
And then I was out again.
Do you remember pain when you woke up?
No, not at all.
Oh my God.
More whiskey this way. More whiskey.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And then I was totally like fine afterwards. I wasn't like loopy or out of it.
Oh.
So they did a pretty good job with the anesthesia.
Oh, very cool.
Other than me waking up.
That's like a rite of passage for a lot of people, the wisdom tooth situation.
No
and
longer
having
wise.
that after video?
Now, has this
Mine would have
happened
been
with
boring because I would have been very normal.
Yeah, that's not fun.
My dad was like disappointed because he wanted me to be loopy.
Break out the video camera.
Oh my God.
It's in evidence.
Yeah, I've had my wisdom teeth, but every surgery I've had, when I wake up from anesthesia, I throw up. And then I feel fine, and I'm back to normal.
And you're a redhead, so you require a lot of anesthesia.
Extra anesthesia.
Oh.
At least 2 times as much. Sometimes
No way.
Yeah.
2 times?
My son,
when 2 times what? More than a 10-year-old?
Yeah. No, more than like the average person. Redheads require
Does that mean you have
of...
a high tolerance for the fermented drink?
I don't want to discuss that on there.
Okay. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there.
You would know.
Well, I don't know. I've never said, okay, go. Pour you a thirsty 2-ouncer of the whatever.
Of something.
I don't know.
Okay, so surgeries I've had 3 C-sections.
Oh, I guess that's a surgery.
Those are surgeries. Uh-huh. And then
they open you up, they take the baby out, and then they close you back. Thank God they close you back up. So
little cosmetic surgery. You get a little bit of a flatter stomach afterwards.
Oh, well, sign me up. Yeah.
And then my wrist surgery.
Yes, that's right. That was not too long ago.
Not too long ago.
Okay, so that means
might be having to redo it.
What?
Might be having to have another one. We'll find out this week.
Why? Does it hurt? What's the matter?
It's worse than it was before.
No.
It got better and felt great, and then I think I might have re-injured it.
What did you... Or is it because you're operating the sledgehammer? Is that what's happening?
Yes. It's
No.
the sledgehammer.
You're trying to play the baseball again or what?
Could be the golfing.
Oh, no. Oh.
I know.
Are you kicking yourself? Don't kick yourself.
No,
then
I'm
you'll
not
need another
kicking
surgery.
myself, because if I have another surgery, I'm just going to be like, hey, now send me to a sports medicine doctor and let's fix this right.
Oh, so you
So I
assume
can
they botched
continue.
it because they weren't sports people?
No, but there is a difference between, and I'm not saying like a regular orthopedic doctor is bad, but I've seen a regular orthopedic doctor, and then with my son, I've seen a sports medicine orthopedic doctor. There is a huge
Well, that could
difference.
also be individual doctor.
It could be, but they're more focused on, we're rehabbing this to get you back into your sport.
Oh.
So it has to be extra. I
Wait,
know.
wait,
So my sport is
wait,
golf.
stop.
I know.
So Caroline is getting back into her
My
playing
sport.
sport mode. Sorry.
That was the conversation I had with the doctor yesterday. I casually play golf. Casually.
I've been hitting the clubs pretty
Not that
hard.
great. And I think
Hitting the
they
links,
jacked it
as
up.
they say.
and-
Okay, well, you don't want this to take away from your golf game.
I don't, because
Your
I love
burgeoning
golfing.
golf
And I
game.
just bought 2 brand new clubs, and I haven't been able to use
Wait,
them
you're
yet.
at the level now where you're buying other clubs? Where you're like,
Well, because I've been borrowing
I like the
my father-in-law's, and it kind of stinks to have to be like, okay, I want to go golfing. I have to go over there and grab his. and then-
borrowed situations. I
Yeah.
see. Got
So-
it. So you're
2 of
building
my-
up your...
2 of my favorite clubs I just went out and bought. Yeah.
What do you mean to your favorite clubs? Like having used several clubs, you've
Yeah.
discovered that this particular brand is your flavor.
It's not a brand. It's like the type of club.
Oh. Okay, well, there's so many more questions.
I know we don't have to get into that.
Okay.
That's not our icebreaker.
That's not our icebreaker.
That's not our icebreaker.
Let's go to your. Wait, I'm trying to think if I've had any other surgeries. I've had my wisdom teeth out.
Okay.
I had
Well,
those.
since Caleb is using that.
I know. I had those after my first C-section, and I remember laying there going,
After?
I would I think 3 months after. I had my
Good-
after.
Oh, because it's in your 20s, right? That the wisdom teeth come out or whatever?
I just put mine off because I didn't want to do it.
I think I was in high school.
Okay. It depends
just
if you have a
depends.
crowded
I mean,
mouth.
I think there are different points at which they
Mel
can come
had
out.
hers, I think, at 19. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Before
I
we
was
met.
22, 21.
Okay.
Something like that. I just remember laying there going, I would have rather had another baby. It hurts so bad.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I'm glad I'm not a redhead.
Oh, wait a second. Yeah, I thought your pain tolerance
I know,
was supposed to be
but
higher.
That's it.
This is
Just
all
the wisdom
mythological.
teeth. I just remember laying there saying that. Maybe I was hormonal because I had just had a baby. I don't know.
Hey, anything's possible.
It really is.
So my surgeries, I had 4 surgeries on my eyeballs before I was 8 years old.
It's insane.
It's so weird. This story came up, I don't know, the other day in some context. I'm sure I wedged it in there in some way, shape, or form. But no, seriously, I have. So when I was, I just told this story to Caroline.
You did.
Not 5 minutes ago, but
And
when
I
I
never
was,
knew it.
and how did that happen? Anyway, so when I was 6 months old, I had spinal meningitis.
Terrible.
And so it affects like it's called cerebral spinal meningitis. And I was at a babysitter. The babysitter was crowded. She had like over 20 kids. I contracted something funky monkey. And so I was one of the youngest. So I got sick. And my poor mom, single mom.
Yeah.
You know, the first comment you made was really apropos because you said, "Your poor mom."
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm right here, Caroline. What about poor Chris Oneth?
You were a baby.
No, I
You
was. I didn't know
remember.
I didn't know from Adam.
Yeah.
So I guess I get sick. She brings me to the doctor. My neck. The doctor knew right away because my neck was stiff, and he was like, "Uh-oh, get this kid, to a place stat." Anyway, so maybe that was. I don't know that it was a surgery, but I had a bunch of tubes coming out of me. I was told.
I mean, that sounds terrible
Well, I don't remember, so I'm okay.
for your mother.
Yes,
That sounds
totally.
terrible for your mother.
So anyway, it affected the muscle in my eyes.
Okay.
So like kindergarten, first grade, my eyes faced downward, and I would essentially walk around with my head back and my eyes downward. So went to surgery. I think it was San Francisco Children's Hospital. No, there was a couple surgeries down Southern California. There was a couple in San Francisco Children's Hospital. Anywho, each time was a corrective measure to bring my eyes back into where they needed to be. And so this is all before 8 years old. Each time after each surgery, I was effectively blind for about 2 weeks. And so I'd have to walk around. And the look on your face is killing me right now. Were you just
like, I'm just picturing, because I'm trying not to crack jokes, but also like, then I like, were you just bruised up from running into stuff?
Bouncing. Right? No, I had a big donut on my head I just get. No, I'd feel my way around and stuff like that. And I could open my eyes briefly. Good thing it really hurt to open my eyes.
Okay.
So I could open and get a snapshot. And then it would hurt to keep them open, so I would
then
you
started using echolocation.
Oh, absolutely. No. So I actually showed that to my psychology kids on overcoming the deficit of blindness by using sound.
Have you seen that video of the guy that does that?
Oh, listen, I taught a thing on him.
It's so amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. But that also required that kids go through bumps and bruises to do that. And a lot of parents were like, not. Anyway.
I'm actually just amazed at... And I'm not saying this like because you're old, but I am amazed that back then they wouldn't be like, this is just how it's going to be and you're going to have to deal with it. That they would do that many corrective surgeries.
Well,
way back then.
Well, my mother probably wanted my modeling career to really take off. So,
well, she must be disappointed.
Never really burgeoned. So,
again, your poor mom.
Yes, totally. And I remember one particular time, and it's one of my strongest and most profound childhood memories. I will try not to cry when I talk about this, but I was laying in one of the surgeries, and so my eyes are closed. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't tell if it was the dead of midnight or the middle of the day. But I remember, here I go. I remember calling out, "Mom, Mom." And right away she answered back. Aww. She was like, "I'm right here." And so it's a weird, she was there.
Yeah.
Right. And so all her, quirks and weirdness and all this other stuff, it's just like any of us parents. Mm-hmm. There's stuff that, when we look back and we go like, I should have done that. I should have done this more. But I'm glad that's one of the more powerful memories for me instead of, she, forgot to pick me up after school or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why I always say poor mom, because I remember I have she's 27 now, 26-year-old special needs daughter, and we've done a lot of hospital stays.
Oh.
And just the feeling as a mom watching your kid lay there and not being able to do anything. But then my dad would always be like, "How do you think I feel? I'm watching my kid and my grandkid." And I'm like,
"Oh my gosh."
And you're a grandparent.
Oh, sure. It never ends, guys.
Like that, double knife to your heart when something happens to them. I can't even imagine.
Well, and the only time it would end the whole heart outside your chest sort of understanding as a parent, right? The only time that it ever end is if you didn't have anyone else you cared deeply about, right? And that would stink.
Yeah.
So we put up with the agony of having those we dearly love go through some of this stuff so that we can love.
Better to have loved and lost than to have never have loved at all.
That's a different direction, but yeah, sure.
That's kind of what you're saying in a sense.
So
lost or not lost, just better to have loved.
So speaking of, this goes back to our current topic for the next couple of sessions, and that is what do we really need or needs?
Off the top of my head, I need my Dr. Pepper. I need the air I breathe.
It's just off camera, folks.
Exactly.
Nobody watches the camera or the video.
That would be an incentive. You should flash that thing so they actually have an incentive to watch the YouTube. I don't know why I would get someone to try and watch the YouTube over listening, but
I'm just drinking water here in my cup.
That's a total lie. You lie to these unsuspecting people.
Okay, fine. I'll read it. It's called Balance.
Wow. That's embarrassing.
For who? Not for me.
Right.
I've only
it feels great.
This is only my first one of these today. I've had multiple of these.
Oh, is that a normal thing for you to have multiple of those?
No.
Dr. Pepper?
No, I drink one a day.
One a day. Yeah, but that's
not this
massive.
big. Okay, but this is what I was saying when I got in here.
50 years ago, that would have been 3 Dr. Peppers.
I don't, and I did put extra ice into it. I don't usually do this big. I don't know what's wrong with me.
They foisted it upon you.
They didn't. I fill it up myself. I pick the cup.
Oh, okay.
I go to Moe's.
That's some You're growing. That's some serious confession right there.
This is all me.
Okay.
And pretty soon this is going to be all in me.
Okay. Bathroom every 3 minutes. Okay. So what are we talking about? The needs we have.
Yeah.
So the best way we're going to wrap our heads around this is, we of course consider God's word in all of this, but we also bring in psychology because although God's word is super complete in what it is meant for, it does not tell us, for example, how to build a house.
Right. Well, an ark.
Huh?
Well, it says don't build it on sand.
Yeah. It kind of does.
True that.
We got that. Yeah.
It gives dimensions for an ark, and you can just scale it down if you want a house.
Well, you got dimensions for like the
then
temple,
I stand
too.
corrected, I suppose. All
if you want an ark or a temple.
You should pick something else.
Great. Skyscrapers? I don't know.
Ark, again.
No, stop.
You just put it up on it.
Brain surgery. No.
We could, okay, surgery. That's legit.
Surgery.
It doesn't tell us how to do surgery.
We tied it all together.
Circle. That is... You were talented.
Good. We should do this for a living.
Not we, you. It doesn't tell us how to do brain surgery or surgery of any kind. However, God has given us strengths and abilities that He has endowed us with, right?
Yeah.
That enable us to discover these things. Anywho, how that ties into our needs is there's a dude a while back. His name is Abraham Maslow.
I like Maslow.
And he actually came up with a hierarchy of needs. And the way he framed this is a pyramid, and at the base is the most basic needs. And at the top is the need that comes after all the other needs have been met.
Yes.
Now, why we were talking about this and why it's important is because when dealing with ourselves and a relationship with ourselves, relationship with others, relationship with creation, we have to make sure certain needs are met before graduating to try and get to other needs. In other words, if you're starving...
I'm just going to say that.
Go ahead.
No, I want you to finish. I want to see if you know the whole thought I was thinking.
Oh, gosh, that would be scary.
Kind of creepy.
No, if you're starving, me talking to you about reading more books to enlighten yourself or to grow in knowledge is not going to compute with you.
Exactly.
There you go.
Close to what I was going to say.
Why? What were you going to say?
I was going to say, if you're starving, you're not going to want to sit down and have a conversation with a friend and communicate.
Sure.
You're going to be hangry.
There you have it. Okay. So this has implications in our daily practical living, and it has implications even in our spiritual life.
Yeah.
And all kinds of ins and outs. Now, some of the critique of Maslow includes, like, for a lot of these needs, and we'll go through them, but for a lot of these needs, they may not be like linear. In other words, okay, if I've met my food need, now I can move up to the safety and security, physically safe and secure or whatever. Sometimes they cycle through up and down, swirl around, all that stuff.
Would you say, though, that, well, I don't want to say it, like the top of the pyramid, though, comes last?
So, again, that would be an order, a function of order,
right.
First, second, third, and last. For the most part, the structure holds, but in some cases it can shift slightly. But I honestly don't think you're going to worry about enlightenment if you are like truly starving.
What about the Buddha?
I get that. So then okay. So wow.
I just love how you said that.
We're not talking about the Buddha. This is a Christian anyway. But I think to your point is what you're talking about is in some traditions or some understandings, there's like enlightenment is most important, even in God's word where it says,
fasting.
Man shall not live by bread alone.
Someone who's fasting.
Fasting, yes, but fasting might be a function of it's interesting. Fasting is, I dare I say, almost a first world privilege or opportunity.
You can say
right?
that. Yeah.
And the part of the there's all multi levels to fasting, but part of the idea of fasting is, part of fasting is discerning between, believe it or not, a hunger need and a deeper emotional, spiritual need, right? So because we are a culture of abundance, we can assume it's a food need because food brings us pleasure. We're at the socioeconomic level in our culture, at least those of us sitting in this room and potentially listening to the podcast, we're at a level where food is not scarce to us.
Right.
So we're not worried about our next meal.
Right.
So it wouldn't hurt us to go without a meal. That sounds weird. That sounds bad. It wouldn't hurt us. Well, let me say, it wouldn't hurt me
to go like.
It wouldn't hurt me to go without a meal, but at the same time, I also have the resources to use food as a drug that keeps me away from these other difficult things.
It's setting aside our physical needs to focus on our spiritual needs.
Yes. And that is another great point, because we muddy the waters thinking potentially that we have physical needs that we may not actually need. Right? We need air conditioning.
We think we do.
Well, I don't know if you've lived in the valley, but no, maybe in our house. Maybe not. I don't know.
No.
But I've had cars without air conditioning.
But
and
is that
Caleb has
need?
ridden in cars that have the heater on in the heat. So
It's true. Yeah. So do we need air conditioning? See, I'm gonna get stuck on that now.
see, there you go. Some would say, no, I need air conditioning. But it could be a matter of tolerance, right? And that's a little different than these hierarchy needs. But
Right.
again, this is all stuff we throw out here to discern between, okay, is this a full-on like need that I have, or is it a want? So,
Yeah.
okay.
Let's
Having
go.
said all that, that's the introduction.
Okay. So let's dive into
Let's
the pyramid.
dive in. Okay. Now,
Are we going top down, bottom down?
we're going to go
Or
bottom
are we gonna
up.
skip
Bottom
around?
up.
I mean, bottom up.
If we go bottom down,
Bottom
we're going to
down.
be done
then
quickly.
yes, once we've hit bottom,
That's it.
that's all there is to do. And this pyramid has been modified over the years because people have put their input in, and so we'll talk about some of the modifications. But
And I will really quick. Sorry. I'm going to do
Don't
it
be
right
sorry.
now. I am going to put a link to an article on Maslow's hierarchy of needs that has a picture of this pyramid
nice.
in our show notes for people.
Okay, where's the article from?
Simply Psychology.
That's a great article. That's the one I'm looking at as we speak.
Well, it is the one you sent me. So
Oh, got it. Wow.
did you think we were on like the same wavelength again?
You're welcome.
That would
No.
be crazy.
Okay, so at the bottom is the first need that, again, is of highest importance is our physiological needs. So that includes, of course, breathing. You don't say. Breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep.
good stuff.
Even in survival, like understanding, like we need air is first.
Yeah.
We can only live like 3 minutes without air. Potentially more if you've trained yourself.
I was going to
You're
say
Tom
like
Cruise.
10
Tom
I think I
Cruise.
go like 10
Tom
seconds
Cruise
of
can hold
holding
his
my
breath for like, I don't know how long, but really,
Where does
really
this
long
come
time.
from?
He does his own stunts.
But you have to hold
He
your
does a lot
breath
of
for that?
underwater stunts.
Oh,
I don't know if he can hold his breath
Okay.
for like half hour.
What?
a half hour?
You got to Google.
I don't know. I could be exaggerating. I'm going to find out.
Jeez. Well, if you better not be flailing frantically because that'll chew
For the
up
next
oxygen.
10 minutes, it's going to be silent.
Okay,
We're all going to practice.
not a
holding our
half
breath
hour,
in.
6 minutes.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Just a
air is
silence.
the first. Water is second.
Yeah.
Right. You cannot go without water you can go without water. You can go without food longer than you can go without water.
Yeah.
Especially if you got some weight on your bones, like Chris Oneth. But and then of course water. Shelter is important. So even in survival, like stuff,
Right.
It's like, okay, find your water first, find your food, then build your shelter.
Okay.
Yada yada yada. So, okay, we're going to go through those stages, and then we'll go back through the stages and see the implications they have in everyday living. So the first is physiological needs. The second stage is safety and security. So you got health. It says here employment. Depends on what you mean by employment, but some sort of this is talking about not only like physical safety, but emotional safety, because it talks about family, social connection or whatever. And by social connection, I'm not talking about climbing the social ladder. I'm talking about, turning to a family member and saying, hey, or, you're not alone.
In place of in place of employment, would you just put financial or finances or money
it's
of
funny,
some sort?
Self-sufficiency or
so that gets into deeper into the weeds, and we're going to go there.
Yeah.
But and then you can even culturally mess with what does it mean, financially. Like, again, we're at a level sitting here, and you probably listening to the podcast, you're at a level where you think of financially, you're like, okay, I've got to budget this and budget that. Whereas another person financially may be like, I've just got to scrape enough money today to go get Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And that would be it.
Yeah.
So, so first, physiological safety and security. Up from there, level 3 is love and belonging. So this is where it gets into more emotional stuff, right? The first two you have, the breakdown is somewhere in here, basic needs, right?
Yeah.
The next two you have psychological needs. Okay. So love and belonging, friendship, family, intimacy, sense of connection. Mm-hmm. So, and again, going back to if you are worried about where your next food is going to come from, that's going to be a primary driver over, hey, I want to feel like I'm connected to my family.
Yeah. Or you connect to your family if you flip them, because they don't have to go in that order. You connect to your family so they can help you figure out where your next meal comes from.
Now you're getting into areas of sometimes why we have these like relational connections and everything else, and how they help us in multiple ways. Mm-hmm. So fair enough. Next up from love and belonging is self-esteem. So you've come from so Maslow would say that the social aspect of who you are even trumps the individual aspect of who you are.
The social aspect trumps the individual aspect. Okay.
So in other words, you would need social first, social being family connections, to then build on who you are as an individual. Those two parts may be able to switch. But again, it's a chicken and egg thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how do you build person, because the above love and belonging is self-esteem needs, confidence, achievement, respect of others. I would say add to this autonomy. Well, it says right here, unique individual, but autonomy, agency. But some find that very difficult to do unless they've had family support to kind of get them to that level.
Well, yeah, because these, and I know I'm going to go deep here, maybe. These needs are innate from when we're born, and when you're born, you need your family, like right off the bat.
Well,
you have
us as babies, human babies cannot survive on our own.
And so therefore you do have that family before you develop the sense of self.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Now that gets a little sticky too, because at what point and at what age, and we'll get into this when we talk about moral development, at what age do we as the individual have to take over?
Right.
Because if you're still needing someone at 25 like you needed them at 5, that could be a problem. That could be an issue. Anyway, I almost made a joke there.
It just reminds me of a conversation I had with my son this morning, because
oh boy,
he slept on my bedroom floor, and I was waking him up, and I said, when are you going to sleep in your own bed? And he was like, never. And I said, so when you get married, I used to be like, hey wife, we have to go sleep on my mom's bedroom floor. And he's like, yep.
Okay. Wow, he finds that comfortable, bedroom floor?
Well, he has a mattress. He has a cot mattress that is just thrown down there. And then it was like, and so my grandkids are just going to be sleeping here too? Yep.
Oh, wow. Well, okay.
Hey, we're taking it back to the days
I feel like that wouldn't be abnormal in some cultures.
No, not at all.
That's the whole thing. And culturally, that's how families used to sleep. And it was a sign of wealth if you actually had your own bedroom.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So we're just acting like we're poor.
Hey, he's consolidating.
You know what? We have the greatest conversations late at night, so I'm not mad about
Now
it.
that is funny. That's a whole different thing. My daughter used to come in at like 9:45 when the plane was coming in for a landing, and she's like, "Mom and Dad," and it was like we totally desired to talk to her, so it'd be like, "Okay, yeah."
You're like, I've only been asking since 3:00 if you want to talk about.
I know, we've been like trying to like cultivate this thing, and then I guess the massaging worked, and then she opened up at 9:45. So above self-esteem, at the highest level, and by the way, so there's subcategories here where you have the first two, of course, safety needs and physiological needs are basic. Self-esteem needs and belonging and love needs are psychological. And at the very top is a kind of self-fulfillment need. And the term used here by Maslow is self-actualization. Wow.
Big word.
How psychobabbly is that?
I like psychobabble.
So essentially what self-actualization refers to is achieving one's full potential, creative abilities. It goes beyond, it really is folding into and adding to the individual.
Yeah.
In other words, I can sit and contemplate bettering myself when all these other things below on the pyramid are met.
Yeah. So would you say on this that for our listeners, is this a daily thing? Or is this this is what I'm working through in my life, and eventually I'll be at self-actualization?
I cannot function until I have breakfast and my coffee. So there, boom, my physiological need is met.
Right. So you're going to have some days where I'm like, I'm at self-act. Like if we're going by it at the top, like in order. And then there's going to be some days where you're like, I can't even get beyond safety needs.
So this gets into the practical weeds here. But yes, you're right. And part of the problem is that even in our culture, we can ramp ourselves up to a point where everything we act and react to is reactionary. So, oh my gosh, I'm running around so much. I got to get the kids here, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And so we're in a mode of meeting certain needs, like I must get the kids here. I must, buy the dinner for the club meeting tonight. I've got 5,000 errands to run. And that blocks being able to sit and connect to oneself, which blocks connecting ourselves to the Lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. Well, because I look at these and I think I'll say personally throughout my life, and as I've grown as a person and worked on myself, I feel like you can meet these faster. In the sense of, right, like now I know if I'm hungry, I can grab food. Now I know,
sure.
If I need, I gotta go back up to the little thing, health, or I know what, I can take some medicine, or I can do this or that. Love and belonging. I've learned which relationships are the ones I can go to meet that need, and which ones aren't.
Now that's a very good point,
okay.
Right? And this is where your ability to connect to yourself, and Maslow might refer to that as the self-actualization, right? Your ability to connect to yourself really then enables you to discern, like what needs are truly going to meet. Like, for example, if I am truly connected to myself and I am understanding deeper things about myself, I know that Taco Bell may meet a satiation need.
Make me crave Taco Bell and everybody else.
But the deeper need is I need a salad or something. I need something that,
and they
like
used
good
to have
food.
Taco salads, and that met both needs.
Yes, totally. And I poo-poo Taco Bell, but I also eat Taco Bell, if you know what I'm saying.
I had it for lunch.
Well, I had David's Tacos once again. I think it's the go-to.
I had cake and Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
We're getting our
How
needs
do you
met.
not weigh 800 pounds? What is wrong with you? I had cake and Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Yeah.
See, I know if I said Haagen-Dazs,
It's so
I'd
yummy.
get that. It's really
Okay,
yummy.
so then when it comes to
I'm sorry.
No, please.
I just like, I think that was just an aha moment for me in my own self.
Go back to that.
That just that whole, as you learn these things, because I can see, like, gosh, there was a time where I struggled at that love and belonging level. And I feel like, gosh, that really just kind of put a wedge in it for me to not totally reach that self-actualization.
Sure.
And how frustrating, like looking back, how frustrating that was. But I see now, like, oh my gosh, like it's so cool because now I can see
well, you
all that
have to be,
self-actualization in me.
you also have to be careful because part of getting to self-actualization will help you discern which relationships you have that are healthy and not healthy.
Right.
So if you are relying on belonging and love needs to then give you the go or the green light to self-actualize, then you're going to be frustrated and you're also going to be dependent on others to get there.
Totally. And I'm stuck there.
Sure.
So yes.
So go ahead.
I have kind of a deeper in question.
Oh no.
Which is, why do you think Maslow and the hierarchy in general has love and belonging before self-esteem? I know you kind of mentioned that, but I'm curious just to dig into that a little deeper. Why do we need to have that love and belonging before we can, have a sense of ourselves and yeah.
So this is a developmental thing, right? And so love and belonging if you think of developmental age lifespan sort of thing, at 5 years old, at, one infancy to, whatever, 12 years old, you're wholly dependent on your parents. And so the information you receive from them can inform you as to the next stage of how to, adolescence is when we start separating from our parents and becoming more individualistic. And then that further develops as we go like on in years. But it can make it difficult when the information you're getting as a kid is that you are not capable. And this is all kinds of moving parts in this because, here potentially you're told, and you may not be told explicitly by your parents, you're not capable, but in their own insecurity, they may not believe they are capable. And so that is a family trait of we are not capable. So then at some point you either adopt that family mantra or you might take some risks, you might fail a little, you might achieve a little, and then start to build your self-esteem separate from the family. But it's a interesting paradox that at one point you need some sort of like guidance, and then at another point you take over.
So I look at it as like, if I don't have friends or family that I'm hanging out with and I'm not connected to anything, I'm gonna feel like a loser and like, where's my like no one wants to hang out with me. No one wants to be my friend.
Yeah.
Well, but does the hermit in the woods feel like a loser?
You tell me.
I don't know.
What are you saying, sir?
I don't go to the woods. How would I know?
You're missing out. Well, here's the deal: the loser in the woods.
We're sorry, Mr. Hermit, if you're listening to this.
He's not listening to a podcast.
The hermit in the woods might feel like a winner out in the woods.
Yeah.
But then he might get around people and feel like a loser. So he stays out in the woods.
Yeah.
So that's going to be relative too, as to where you, even self-esteem. Like self-esteem, I feel confident as a counselor and I feel confident doing certain things. And then, what happens? I get around someone who knows, astrophysics, and I feel like a complete bumbling, blathering.
But that confidence as a counselor comes from that sense of connection with your clients.
Well, the fact that they keep coming back and paying me.
I mean,
maybe.
that's always nice when they keep coming
I never
back.
see them
that
again.
gives you confidence.
Or they send me emails as firing me. Then
you don't have as much confidence. Depends. I know it depends on the client.
Chris just fell down a well.
Wait, you gotta move.
We lost Chris. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So okay, so looking at this, tying this into our three relationships, because that's where I got to point everything.
Okay.
Anyway, so at the safety needs and security and safety and physiological needs, the physiological being the base, and then the safety needs, that can be considered a relationship to our environment, to the world around us.
Yeah.
Like, and what is my relationship to this environment? I had a crazy conversation with one of my Catholic friends who, I don't know if this is maybe getting off into the weeds entirely, but they talk I don't want to lump all Catholics in, but there is an understanding that certain like places can be possessed by demons.
Okay.
which is crazy because it's not necessarily a soul object. Like it doesn't have a soul like you and I.
Yeah.
But it is a place, a house,
like
a something.
the building.
Right. And, you know, this is a whole.
Are you going to give me the heebie-jeebies?
Potentially. Sorry, this brings up some.
It's a good thing my son will be sleeping on my bedroom floor tonight.
So, yeah, I mean, so there's people that can discern. You walk into a certain room or certain thing, and they get a sense that something is weird.
Yeah.
Melanie has that.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, that's one of those things I was like, I trust her.
Yeah, we're out.
Which is crazy because then some people can serve as a barometer for that sort of stuff. Whereas me, I don't have the barometer, but I am also not intimidated by it. Maybe I should be.
Okay.
So like maybe one person is the barometer and the other person is the like battler or whatever.
Let's go fight
Let's go fight this thing. Anyway, that's a totally different side subject.
Yeah.
Please don't send us hate mail.
That's another episode.
So basic needs can be tied into our relationship with the environment. Okay. Psychological needs can be tied into our relationship with others.
Yeah.
Right? Belongingness and love needs as well as self-esteem. Self-esteem is kind of that's that cross between our relationship with ourselves and others. Because again, my self-esteem can be high among certain members of the population and low among others.
Right.
Then at the top, where Maslow again uses the term self-actualization, that is truly a relationship with ourselves, and there is a need to cultivate that and pay attention to that.
Yeah,
I find that if people are highly involved in relationship with others, in other words, super hyper aware of what others need.
Yeah.
And or super involved with a relationship with an environment. In other words, they have all these things to distract them. It detracts from the relationship they have with themselves. Yeah. Or, believe it or not, those things are cultivated to avoid the relationship with the self. In which case, the depth of understanding and what, again, Maslow would call self-actualization is curbed or lessened because they're too busy outside of themselves. And and listen, our faith is, believe it or not, I don't want to say rules in the sense that it's a bunch of rules, but it is the authority of God's word and tradition.
Yep.
That is part of our faith.
Yep.
That is sort of an external thing. It is also meeting in the company of others. So that is very relational. Yet our faith is also individualistic. Sometimes we're meant to be hermits for a minute.
Right. For a minute,
as
not
we
forever.
go off into the wilderness, Caroline.
We all have
we call wilderness.
I go to the jungle, San Francisco.
Those are people over there, by the way. There are people hanging around there.
I ignore them.
Okay.
So do we want to put a pin in it here?
I think we do.
Okay. And then next week we're going to kind of go into the practicalities of it.
Sure.
I guess how do I apply this?
We just did a whole
What
philosophical thing. Now more practical stuff.
Yeah, and more biblical stuff. And
sure. Stay tuned.
We're going to blow it up some more.
Nice.
All right. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, as always, please leave a review and share with a friend.
Like and subscribe.
That's that too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today as we continue our journey talking about life's many questions.
To stay connected with us, you can follow us at Downey Park Counseling on both Facebook and Instagram. You can also follow Caroline on Instagram at Relatable Caroline. And make sure you tune in next week for our next question.